In the last 60 years since Spider-Man's inception, there have been so many on-screen versions of himself, from the animated movies to the animated shows, and finally, the live-action movies, which I think we can both make an argument for have been the most successful out of all these iterations.
Yeah, when the general person who's not really like a big comic book fan thinks of Spider-Man, they're either going to think of Tobey or Andrew or Tom Holland nowadays.
And each of them has their pluses and minuses, but today we really wanted to jump in and dissect which is the best on-screen Spider-Man.
We hit a plateau and we just decided to nuke our channel with this video, you know?
This is definitely going to be a divisive video for sure.
Absolutely.
But you know what? That's the beauty of Spider-Man. Everyone has their favorite things they love about him.
Absolutely, and we're not going to be like ripping on them, you know? These are three actors that are all extremely talented and have given their own different, unique take on Spider-Man. And today, we're going to try, because, you know, we're nerds and this is what we do, we're going to try and rank them from worst to best.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Together, we're the Comic Lads, and today, we're going to figure out who is the best on-screen Spider-Man.
But before we get started, guys, question of the week. Who is your favorite on-screen Spider-Man? Let us know in the comments down below. Is it Tobey? Is it Andrew? Is it Tom? Let us know.
And tell us why. But before we jump into it, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Join the Comic Lads. And
join the lads.
And become a lad.
Become a lad.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
We're
both on the same page on who is the worst of the three.
Yes, but before we say it, by worst, we don't mean the worst Spider-Man. We mean the bottom of the three.
Yeah.
We're not trying to hate, but we are going to be honest about how we feel about Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's definitely at the bottom, and I think the biggest problem with Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that his character has always kind of felt like he's had a bit of an identity crisis.
For sure, and it feels as though he's never really been allowed to grow from movie to movie. It seems almost as if after each arc he has in his solo movies, he just regresses back to the point that he was at the start of the previous movie.
It's always Sony and Marvel just hammering this idea of, oh, he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, yet in every single movie he relies on a different team-up, whether it's Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Mysterio, even when he thought he was a good guy.
Yeah, Mysterio, and then like all of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know?
Yeah, and I think that kind of takes away the essence of what makes Spider-Man so special. I think we both read that comic back in the 60s, where the Avengers try out Spider-Man to become an Avenger.
Of course.
And through some miscommunication on what his actual task is with the Hulk, blah, 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 he realizes that he is just the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and there's something really special about that.
Yeah, there is. And it's really tough because each movie, I think Tom Holland is giving it his all. And when he has those emotional moments, they hit extremely hard. Now, I'm not just talking about his incredible death scene in Infinity War. In Spider-Man No Way Home, there's incredible scenes, emotional scenes of him like post Aunt May's death, you know? But besides those moments, they don't give him much to do.
Yeah, and also on those moments that you're bringing up, once again, he's relying on other people's help. He's relying on the other two Spider-Man.
Oh my god, yeah, true.
It's like,
forgot about the other
you can't even, like, there's no escape from this, like, babysitter freaking attitude all the other characters have with him.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's tough especially because it feels like each journey in each of his movies is him figuring out that, you know, he has to and can do it alone. But they still have to reinforce, like, oh no, we need to cram other people in because he can't hold a movie on his shoulders by himself, which is just crazy to think because all the other Spider-Man movies before have been about solo loner Spider-Man. And that's worked in their favor, I think.
And it's especially frustrating because where we see him off at the beginning of his first appearance in Civil War, there are so many things going for him that, you know, we both said it before, but he's never been as good as he was in that movie, as brief of a freaking role as it was.
Dude, he's in like 6% of that movie, and it's the GOAT live-action Spider-Man.
It's the best. He has the perfect level of quirkiness, the perfect action. The suit looks really good because, like you brought up in the past, it's not just like an actual suit that he's wearing, it's CGI.
Exactly, and he has some great emotional moments with Tony Stark, you know, where he alludes to what happened with Uncle Ben. A lot of people like to rag on the fact that Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies have kind of ignored, quote-unquote, Uncle Ben, but they don't, because in his first appearance in Civil War, when he says the monologue, you know, about when the bad things happen, you know, and you don't help, they happen because of you, he's talking about Uncle Ben, guys. Come on, let's read between the lines. He doesn't need to say, my uncle died, so, I'm Spider-Man.
And not just that, but also in Homecoming, when Ned is like, oh, we have to tell everyone. He's like, I can't do that to May. You don't understand. She's been through too much.
Yeah, what do you guys think he's talking about?
And it sucks because we never really get those introspective moments. On the surface level, he kind of just seems like a selfish little kid for 3 movies straight.
That's the great thing about Spider-Man. He has these moments of selfishness, like we all do, but what's great about him is that he's able to overcome them and ultimately make the right choice.
I've heard the argument that, oh, well, all 3 movies, this whole trilogy is meant to be one big origin story. And for me, that kind of falls flat on its face because you can't constantly have a character evolve and then regress at the start of the next movie.
You can't just stretch one arc over, 7 hours of movie. It's there's not enough there,
Yeah. Also, I mean, we're just analyzing him as a Spider-Man, but kind of awful action.
Yeah, that's not Tom Holland's fault, but we gotta talk about the action as part of him as Spider-Man. Dude, it was dope in Civil War, and then, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to, hate, but John Watts, he either didn't know what to do or just did not care at all about delivering some hard-hitting action and some freaking swinging.
I can't believe we don't have a single good swinging scene with him. I mean, there could be an argument made for, the final scene in Far From Home where he's, gliding across the city and swinging.
Oh, yeah, the web wings are cool, yeah. And then in No Way Home, there's, the final shot of the movie that has some good swinging.
And I will say, on the subject of that final shot, I like where he is right now. And I think, potential-wise, he could be the best in the future.
I fully agree with that. I was going to bring that up as well. If we were going to get another Tom Holland trilogy, I think there's 100% a good chance for him to solidify himself as the best on-screen Spider-Man. And I love where they left him off.
I hope to God that Sony can freaking get their Avia Rod fucking Amy Pascal hands out of the mixture pot over here.
Yeah.
And let him just be a street-level hero and have regular Spider-Man problems.
Yeah, and I hope that Tom can, want to make them, because it seems like he's
always going back and forth.
He's always like, I want to start a family, and you're just like, all right, dude, but you agreed to be Spider-Man. Just be him.
And it's frustrating too because his whole origin story, now he finally is Spider-Man. He hasn't actually played Spider-Man yet. Do you know what I mean? It's weird to say, but he hasn't played an actual Spider-Man
I totally agree.
And now he can.
As of the second half of No Way Home, he is Spider-Man. A lot of the faults that you can find in his portrayal of Spider-Man are studio influenced.
Definitely. All right. So that is Tom Holland. Let's get into the second ranking. Let's talk about Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
Andrew, for me, it's very frustrating to watch his movies because I think he does so many things right as the character of Spider-Man.
Yeah. The only thing that doesn't jive with his portrayal with Spider-Man in my head is that he's the most gorgeous guy at school, and he's tall and jacked and thin.
Yeah, and Spider-Man from the comics, he's a good-looking guy, but he doesn't know that he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, but he dresses, in a yellow vest with Harry Potter spectacles,
Yeah, just having this kind of cocky bad boy Spider-Man never really was relatable for us, especially in high school. And I think that's the most important thing about Spider-Man is that he is the everyman hero. You know what I mean? Every person can see themselves in him.
Yeah.
And I just can't see myself as a smoldering...
As Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, as a smoldering gaze, lip-biting Andrew Garfield that gets the girl automatically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that being said, he still does work, especially in Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. He's fantastic.
Very underrated movie.
It's great.
Yeah, some might say amazing. All right.
All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.
But it also feels like when I see his action too, and just the way he embodies the Spider-Man character,
oh, it's perfect.
It feels like a comic book has come to life.
I feel like you're thinking about when he's fighting the lizard and he's kind of crawling all around him like a spider and webbing him up.
It's so sick. His action is definitely, it has a strong case to be the best of the 3.
His action and his swinging.
The web swinging, dude. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Never looked so good. That might actually be why Tom Holland and his team didn't do any good ones for his trilogy, because they just knew they couldn't top the fucking web swinging Amazing
Spider-Man. Yeah, but
Spider-Man
at least try.
Yeah, I know,
man.
I know.
You brought it up yesterday. He is the most done dirty actor of all three.
Yeah, and he's the most qualified. Hasn't he won like the most awards?
For sure. And like if we're using that as a metric, like 100%. And I think he's the most talented actor of the three, personally.
One thing that I want to talk about really specifically, though, why I think a lot of people don't like him, is that in Amazing Spider-Man 2, he's kind of really annoying.
Oh my god, dude. His interplay with Gwen, well, I think it's largely because they were dating at the time, no? In the first movie, they have great chemistry.
Definitely.
And in the second movie, I'm like, oh, guys, just stop. They're like always an inch from each other, going like, you're so cute. Yeah. That little laugh that's not allowed. I'm like... No, it's so bad.
Yeah, it's that, and I think even at the time, we were reading different reports and blogs about how Sony asked Kevin Feige to review the movie and give his notes, and he was like, dude, can Peter just make up his fucking mind on whether or not he's with Gwen? It's really annoying, and we so agree with that.
He's such a piece of shit to Gwen, it's crazy. However you feel about him breaking his promise to George Stacy after he died, you know, his promise to stay away from Gwen, maybe don't just flip-flop and break up with her and get back together and then like creepily stalk her and then get back together and then break up with her. Like it's just brutal to watch, and the movie feels like it's just like screeching to a halt whenever it switches back to Gwen. Like, funnily enough, I'm more interested in Electro and like Harry stuff.
One thing that I will note that I personally really like about Andrew Garfield Spider-Man,
Tell me.
is that he is smart. He's intelligent.
Yeah, he's got to be the smartest of the three.
Definitely. Yeah. He makes his own web shooters. I love that whole scene where you see him like overloading the different batteries and getting the webs explode in his face.
Yeah.
That feels very Peter Parker, like guerrilla science kind of workshopy vibes to it, you know?
Definitely.
What
I really like how quick thinking he is on his feet too, you know, like when he's sneaking around Oscorp in the first movie, and even in the second movie when he's trying to figure out the trail of breadcrumbs left by his dad.
Yeah.
He just feels like a really smart, quick-witted Spider-Man.
Definitely. And also incorporating that into defeating different villains, you know, like overloading Electro. Not to mention he actually helped Dr. Connors create the lizard formula. I think that's really interesting. Kind of ties him more closely, not just the action, but also the plot points.
Yeah. I think his character is so redeemed in Spider-Man No Way Home. As much as I'll rag on that movie for, like, I don't rag on it, but the multiverse stuff does get a little tiresome. Andrew steals the show in that movie, dude.
It's crazy. I mean, you know this about me. I'm a huge Raimi Spider-Man fanboy.
Yeah.
And going into No Way Home, I was like, okay, well, obviously they're gonna have the three Spider-Man, and I was shitting bricks to see Tobey.
For sure.
Andrew just literally swung in, no pun intended, and stole the fucking spotlight.
Oh my god, he was so incredible in that movie, dude. He steals the entire movie.
And I think that's like a very strong reason why after that movie came out, everyone was like, oh, make Amazing Spider-Man 3, hashtag TASM3, make it, you know?
Yeah, dude, why the fuck is he not in Venom 3? Why is Venom 3 versus Toxin? Yeah.
Sony's allergic to like anything good.
Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. But listen, I'm still here for Amazing Spider-Man 3. Okay, let's talk about the OG. I know you've got a lot of things to say.
Oh, man. All right. I gotta preface this by saying Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 is not only my favorite superhero film of all time, but also my favorite film, period, of all time.
Period.
Spider-Man 2, out of all the different live-action Spider-Man movies, is the one that really understands the struggle of what being Spider-Man and what being the everyman hero really is.
It's such a brutal watch.
It's brutal, dude.
Like watching Pete struggle, bro, because it's real struggles.
It is.
You know, watching someone who used to be or was gonna be like your girl, but that you had to give up just making out with like a stupid astronaut dude.
Yeah, that's definitely relatable.
Completely.
Yeah, is that, and then like, you know, him struggling to pay his bills. He lives in a fucking shithole ass apartment.
Yeah, bro.
Mr. Dickovich is asking for his money every 2 seconds.
You can't keep a job with Mr. Aziz.
Oh,
you can't
you're
keep
fired.
The promise, man.
Yeah, dude, it's just all things that you can just see in yourself, and all that tied with the glorious action that Spider-Man 2 brings. It makes for the perfect Spider-Man movie, in my opinion.
It really does, and it is the crown jewel in his history of playing Spider-Man.
Definitely.
There is Spider-Man 3 to talk about.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3, I mean...
Listen, it's not his fault.
It's not, and I've also in recent years kind of become a defender of Spider-Man 3.
Really?
I mean, me and you watched it together like a year or so ago.
Yeah, we
were like, we were shocked. We were like, this isn't actually that bad.
Yeah, there's some good Spider-Man moments in here. They're just bogged down by like really whack MJ and Harry stuff. Gopher Face as Venom.
Yeah, too many villains.
Too many villains. If it was just a good Pete and MJ movie with Sandman, like, could have been awesome, dude.
But Spider-Man 1 and 2, on the subject of them, when I think of the theme of great power, great responsibility, I always think to that iconic scene with Peter and Aunt May, where they're in the backyard.
Yeah.
And Aunt May is telling him what a real hero is.
I believe there's a hero in all of us, even though sometimes we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most, even our dreams.
Dude, I need to get that like tatted on my back or something. Like that entire monologue. It's crazy because in that moment, she perfectly summarizes all the internal struggle that Peter has to deal with in Spider-Man 1 and 2. You know, that being giving up MJ for fear of having her get in harm's way.
Yeah.
I feel like none of the other Spider-Men really understood that dynamic.
Not as well as Tobey's. There's just something so special about Spider-Man 3 also has its moments, but how these first two movies with Tobey just make you root for him no matter what. He's such an underdog, he's so lovable, and you just want him to have a single moment, you know, of peace and happiness. And when it finally comes, there's something so lovable about his Spider-Man.
Well, it's just he's so human. He's the most human of the three, so you want him to win because, like we said, that's the beautiful thing about Spider-Man. He's the relatable, everyman, working-class hero, and no one since the Raimi trilogy has understood that in live-action Spider-Man.
You brought up this point yesterday that Tobey's Spider-Man doesn't have too much of his own personality. Like, he's kind of like an NPC almost.
Yeah, he acts a bit like an NPC. Like, this is where the debate between Andrew and Tobey, I think, really comes up. Because Andrew has such a distinct, extroverted personality.
Yeah, he is really extroverted. He's, like, not a nerd at all. In terms of, like an introverted, kind of antisocial, like, geek.
Tobey is kind of
like a great interpretation of original Lee and Ditko Spider-Man, where he wouldn't say anything and all you got was his inner monologue because he like had no confidence and nothing to say to any of his classmates or peers.
That's a great comparison, actually.
Yeah, it's just tough because you don't get like a full inner monologue in his head for the whole movie because it's live action, you know?
Yeah, despite the themes and the plot line that are going on, I don't think his personality is very distinct or fun.
But going back to what we were talking about how he kind of embodies that wallflower from like original Spider-Man. Even though he doesn't say much to express his emotions and his personality and his feelings in these movies, he does an incredible job with just his face acting and the subtext that you get from each scene that he's in.
I agree. Dude, that one scene where MJ walks down the party staircase with John Jameson.
Yeah.
And just that look of him in the crowd, everyone else is clapping, and you can see this man's heart being broken in front of you, shattered into pieces, and he knows that it's his fault.
Yeah.
And it's his choice.
And he can't do anything about it. Dude, do we just convince ourselves? Is Tobey the best?
Tobey's the best.
Yeah, he's
the best. You know, like, if the Andrew movies were better and his...
Well, if he got a fucking third movie, if they let him...
It could have been a really redeeming.
Yeah.
And also, Tom, where he's at now, if they play their cards right, he could definitely swoop up first place.
Yeah.
Or web up first place.
Or swing into first place.
That one's the best.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. I think we can both agree that Tobey's the best.
Definitely. Has the best movies, has the best struggles.
Yes.
Has the best internal conflict, has the best relatability, and
Has some top-notch fucking action and swinging. Yeah, Tobey's the best.
But yeah, guys, that is our ranking. Just to reiterate, question of the week, we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down below who is your favorite Spider-Man actor and why.
Is it because of nostalgia? Are they just the actors in your favorite movies? Or is it Tom because you're like a diehard MCU fan? Let us know. We want to know who your favorite Spider-Man is and why. Thank you so much for watching. We love you.
We love you so dearly, and thank you guys so much for subscribing. We just passed 3.5k subscribers.
Guys, we love you so much. Seriously, all the love that you've been showing us in the comments and just with your subscribing and watching, it
means the world.
It means the fucking world to us.
It does.
Like, our hearts are lifted by you. We love making these videos for you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.
We will. We love you dearly. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Nice.